everyone. It's another Thursday here in our conversation land. Of course, I am your host, Edwin Maya, here at the Conversation Outspoken Opinionated. Of course, we're going to be having a great conversation this evening. This is, like I said, this is the Conversation Outspoken Opinionated. I'm your host, Edwin Maya. If you aren't following us, we're asking you to go to YouTube, The Conversation Outspoken Opinionated. Of course, we are on Facebook, The Conversation Outspoken Opinionated. We are on Instagram, The Opinionated Outspoken Podcast. And of course, we are on Spotify. Like I've said earlier, we are on Spotify, The Conversation Outspoken Opinionated. And we're also on Apple Podcast, The Conversation Outspoken Opinionated. So, super excited for this Thursday. The conversation is going. This is a part 2 of our conversation we started last month on LGBTQI plus. Of course, June is the month of Pride, and so we are trying to expand our knowledge and give more information when it comes to the LGBTQI community. I have 4 individuals who are going to be joining me to have this conversation on what you say when a child do come out and say they're gay, lesbian, bi, transgender, the entire LGBTQI. What do you say as a parent? How do you approach the situation? How do you deal with the situation? All that good stuff. And so I'm just coming out to you. For those who are watching, I say thank you for tuning into the conversation. Of course, I am your host. I know you guys have all had an amazing week. The week has been great. Everybody has been having some good time this week. And so I am super excited for what's going to happen today. The conversation was extremely, extremely hot last month. And so we had to cut the show off. And they were like, we need a part 2. So we do have a part 2. We have 2 individuals who will join us. So last time you guys were introduced to Dr. Lulu, you were introduced to Angelica. We have John Ebron, who's also joining us, and we'll also have Johnny Brantley, who's also joining us. So once I bring them into the broadcast, you guys will see them. Of course, again, for those who are watching, this is The Conversation. I am the host. If you aren't following us, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, The Conversation Outspoken Opinionated. We're on Facebook, of course, we're on YouTube, on Instagram. And so I am going to start bringing in the guests so we can start this conversation because the people have been texting me and saying they're ready for this conversation. So I'm just trying to bring everybody in. So I'm going to bring in, let's bring in John. Let's bring in John. John, welcome.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you very well. It's good to have you. Thank you for honoring our invitation and being here. We are super excited to have this conversation. I know you're joining into the part 2, but I know it's just going to be a smooth transition for you. So I'm not even worried. I'm going to bring in Dr. Lulu, who have been amazing. Oh, she's going to give us a queen wave. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, Dr. Lulu.
Yes, I'm a queer queen. Yes.
Welcome to the conversation. Welcome. I am going to bring Angel in now. Angel, you are here. What's going on, sis? Oh, I like that updo, sis. You know you always got that.
Thank you. I'm trying to connect my speaker so I can hear you guys a bit clearer because you're kind of low all the time. I don't know why it does that.
I don't know why because I think I'm naturally loud. So if you want for me to be,
I know. I can understand why you're not connecting to my speaker right now. Let's see.
But keep on doing that. Well, as I was saying, the conversation last month was extremely important, and I think this month is like super, super dope because I really wanted us to have a conversation on, parents. Like I said, after our first conversation, there are people who reached out and said, okay, I know you guys saw part 2, but what you guys want to talk about? So we're just going to continue. Like, no. Can we have a conversation with parents who have kids who have come out or who have kids and they're thinking, I might have a question about my son, I might have a question about my daughter. Do I say something? How do I address it? There are family members who want to address certain conversations. And so I said, okay, let's do this. But before that, just want to talk about some statistics. It was super mind-blowing. I think Dr. Lulu, you mentioned that the last time we met. But suicide rate is the second leading cause of death among LGBTQI, and it said the age is 10 to 24. And that stood out for me because if you have 10 years old, like teenagers who are trying to kill themselves, because and the basic factor is allowing them to live the true self, allowing them to have the opportunity to be themselves, and even just coming out and saying who I am, and the fear of their family or friends not accepting them. LGBTQR are more than 4 times likely to attempt suicide. And it said 1 in 8 million youth seriously consider suicide. And when you factor that in, that is every 43 seconds individual of LGBTQI is trying to kill themselves. And so for me, I'm just like, wow. If you look at this statistic, and all of this came from, I got it from, are you kidding me? I didn't even put the source. But anyway, I got it from the source. It's not my stuff, but I got the source, and I know I have the source. And this is the thing what I'm talking about. And this is why I think we should have this conversation, because I think a lot of times, a lot of us just see it, and parents, they just say what they want to say. They want to say, but I will start with you, Dr. Lulu, because I know this. We'll start with you.
Is the other Johnny going to join us?
Yes, Johnny is going to join us. Johnny is going to join us. He is going to be here soon. And so we are going to have him come in soon. But he's going to join us. He's running a little bit behind, but he's going to join us.
Okay.
So, Dr. Lulu, with this conversation going into part 2, I know that's something that you do, working with parents to have this conversation with their kids. And you say, I know, how do we, as parents or as family members, lead the way when it comes to these conversations?
I think, honestly, the best answer that I can give anyone, really, is how do you parent your kid normally? The average queer child, which is my preferred word, truly doesn't want any special treatment. They don't, it's like a child who is, and I like to draw a parallel because it's always easier to use things that people can understand. A child who is, for example, maybe blind, or we've seen a lot of videos on YouTube with the lady that has no hands or no leg. They don't need your pity. They don't need your sympathy. They don't need your empathy. They truly want you to treat them as normally, as near normally as you can. That's how the child will adjust. A blind child, Stevie Wonder's parents would tell you that they didn't change anything. They let him learn how to live with no eyes, with no sight. So the queer child truly, what they want from you is just to like business as usual, not everything you bring up the LGBT. It's like it's tiring. It's not even right. I mean, nobody wants that. So my short answer is treat them the way you would treat any other child. There's no special, nobody wants to be treated differently or better because that's outing them. Believe it or not, I know this sounds crazy. But when you want to talk about the child and you lower your tone or you kind of make eye contact, that's outing them. That's inadvertently outing them. They don't want that. They want you to just talk about them normally. I mean, as a parent and as a queer person, I don't want any extra special to, there go the gay doctor. No, I'm just the doctor. Because I'm not saying there go the heterosexual doctor.
Exactly.
There go the gay doctor. There go the black doctor. I'm a good doctor. I know that. So if you're going to say doctor, say good. Anything else is othering. If that makes any sense. So that's my first deposition for the day.
So, John, I'll go to you. John, I will go to you. I pass the baton to you.
No pressure. No. So, you know what? I'm gonna cheerlead my sister here for a second, because one of the things I love about what Dr. Lulu does is she focuses a good amount of her services not just on the queer child, but on the queer parent. Because the issue I find more often than not is the parent doesn't know what they're feeling. And so now you're becoming a source of influence on someone. And you what is in your cup that you're pouring into the life of this young person if you don't even know what it is that you feel? You know, most of the times when we have fears of anything, when we face them, they go away. So if you just deal with your stuff, Mr. and Mrs. Parent, there's really not even an issue that has to take place with your child, you know? And when you were talking, Dr. Lulu, I was thinking about, I just moved to San Antonio. Well, I still got a little bit of new car smell on me, I think, right? I've been here, what? Well, almost a year. I'm pushing up on a year, so I'm losing my newness.
Normal. Yes.
That's not
But
just moved. You're settled
you know,
in.
yeah, I'm not gonna let that one go. But yeah, right
Settle
before I
down.
moved to San Antonio, I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and I met this guy. I had a flat on the side of the road. I ran over a nail, I can't remember what it was. And this guy, which is weird to me, right, in this day and age, that someone actually would stop and help you. But this guy stops and helped me, and we strike this conversation. He wound up being a pastor, and just kind of instantly took a liking to me, and was saying that he would love for me to work with him in his ministry, and I do life coaching and blah blah blah. And I said, before you go down that path, Mr. Pastor, religious person, place, and thing, let me tell you who I am. You know, I love the Lord and I love men. So get into it. So that sparked a whole nother conversation with him. And in the course of that conversation, he confided in me that his son is gay. And he said, I absolutely love my son with all my heart. He's going to go to hell if he doesn't get it right. And it tears me apart. And the first inkling to me was, because you, Mr. Parent, haven't dealt with your stuff, 9 times out of 9, your son is probably already in hell. You are bleeding over onto your son, your unresolved issues that has nothing to do with him. That was the first thing. And then secondly, he says, this is my lineage, which is my legacies, my son, he's going to carry on a name. And, and so I'm not throwing him away. I just want nothing to do with that gay stuff. And so I said to him, probably the one thing he needs you to really stand up and be a parent for him, an advocate for him, a source of light for him, is the one thing you're saying I want nothing to do with.
And then they worry about the suicide rate. I mean, I'm just,
right.
Thank you.
Yeah. You stand out in the rain and get mad because you're wet. It makes no sense, right? So I think, and I forgot to give you my disclaimer. I look just like my daddy and I talk just like my mama. I will talk you to death if you let me. So you just tell me shut up when you're ready to be done talking.
Yeah, I will. But it's going good. It's going good.
Okay. So I think it really comes back to the parents dealing with their own stuff. First of all, don't be mad at yourself that you got stuff. Don't be mad that you have unresolved issues, you have things that you don't understand. Because we all do. But if you can face that, then you can be an impactful influence to your child. And you can't really until you do. So that's what I think. So deal with your own stuff first, and then you can help your child.
AKA come out of your own closet is what I tell people.
Ooh.
The parent has to come out as the parent of a queer child. A lot of parents, and I said this the last time, do not accept and affirm their kids because they do not accept and affirm themselves as the person who born them. They see themselves as defective or something is wrong with me, or I did something wrong. That's why my child, which is why that gentleman said what he said. Because they feel like there's something that they have done wrong. I love this conversation. Let's keep going. Sorry.
A judgment on them.
So, Angel, I'll put it up to you. But I'm gonna give you a direct question because you are a young lady. You do have a young son, and so in the thought of scheme, let's say you have to deal with this opportunity where your son or you have a close family member come up to you and say, "Look, I'm gay." How do you handle that conversation in 2022 as a young lady?
I mean, it's not an easy conversation just based on logistics. Where we're placed on the map is not an easy conversation. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if somebody came up to me and said I'm going to embrace that person. I'm going to love that person because who am I to judge, right? So for me, I love you. I accept you. You could be whatever you want to be as long as you're a good person. But now for me, I'm like, how old are you if you're telling me you're this way? Are you still depending on your parents? You know what I mean? Because all of those things we have to take into consideration, because now if your parents are paying your school fees and you are gay or whatever, I'm not running to tell you, oh, come out, live your best life, be proud. I'm going to tell you, finish school, get what you can get with your education, and then when you feel like you're in a stable place, you have the right to come out. Because now I don't want to tell you, oh, come out, and then you're homeless, you're being abused, people are taking advantage of you because they know you're vulnerable. So, I mean, if it's different, if my child was to come out to me as a different, bro, please, you're happy, you know what I'm saying? That you're my child, you're welcome, this is your home, please, by all means. But if we're talking about another person, another family member, I also need to know like who your parents are, how they're gonna see you. So you have to be very like mindful of coming out, because coming out for me is not the thing. It's sometimes the backlash of coming out. You know what I'm saying? So what are you coming out to? Who are you coming out to? How is your world going to change after you do come out? Because it is going to change. So I think personally for me, if it was my child, you don't even need to, do you, boo? But if it's somebody else's child, get what you can get out of your parents. Make sure you're stable, you're able to take care of yourself. Then you have the conversation. And sometimes I feel like when also have to be mindful when we are having the conversation, you're not trying to like shove it down people's throat, but you're just trying to let them know this is what your situation is. You know what I'm saying? And not like fight them, because it's also new for a lot of parents as well. So that's my take on it.
And I think Johnny is here. Johnny, are you here? Brantley? I see Candy.
I see Candy, yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably my Candy. Why are you here?
You sent it to somebody.
I tried to send out the link to watch. I think that's what happened.
Okay, yeah, that's why. Okay, so I see. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And
so
that's
somebody else. Okay. John probably will come back because his camera's going up. But anyway, I think I want us to, if we can play around that a little bit, because I think, like, I remember the last time we had a conversation, I shared a story of my experience where, somebody was kicked out the house because the parent realized they came out to the parents. They were young. And I remember I had to have a conversation with the parent. And from there, this mom and I had a great relationship. We talked all the time. And it's so funny. And I said earlier, was like the last time, every time we see each other, she always hugged me. And she gave me this hug like, you open up something in me. And I mean, you don't hear anything about her son. That conversation was between me, her, and her son. That conversation has not left either of us. If they are talking about it, that's their business. And it's not my business. There are so many people who have asked me questions. And I'm like, oh, what's happened to this? Oh, he's fine, all around. And that's it, because that ain't my concern. But my main thing that I remember when he was comfortable enough to have the conversation with me, when he told me, I sat down and had a conversation with him. I said, look, let me tell you something. We are from a different culture. We are Africans. Our African parents really respond to things so different. So you first need to understand your mom is responding not based on the situation. She's responding on what people are going to say to her, how people are going to perceive her, what people are going to say about you and her. That is what she's acting on. So we have to go in to let her to understand that, okay, mom, we need to really educate her on what's going to happen, how it's going to be. Because I think a lot of times when someone come out and say they're gay, the first thing people think is they're just going to be having sex all the time, they're promiscuous. And I'm like, no, they're like, that ain't got nothing to do with anything. Like, he was a young teenager, he ain't having sex, he didn't have no partner, nothing, but he was just into his sexuality, he knew who he was, period. And so after that initial conversation, the mom was able to understand. I'm like, yeah, he's just like a regular teenager. He's going to be going to parties. He's going to be doing everything that other teenagers doing. And if you instill the discipline in him to let him know that even if he is having sex, he should protect himself and things that he should learn, just how you would have a conversation with your child who is heterosexual. And I think from that kind of conversation, it was great. And so I think a lot of us, and I don't want to like put a demarcation line and say, African parents and Caucasian parents, I think parents in general need to understand that this is not like, and for me, this is not something like, oh, once your child come out of me, or they're gonna be on the street bumping, grinding, and they're gonna be like sashaying. Like, no, that's
But, but I don't even want to. I mean, I know it's your show, so you kick me out if
no, I won't.
I'll respect that. But I see words matter.
Mhm.
I will not be a part of a show where it's going in this direction. I do not represent these opinions. Words,
Okay.
for me, as
Mhm.
an African, Nigerian, Igbo, my father is a red cap wearing chief. We have
Yes.
at least five queer people in just my immediate family. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm not here. There's no African parents. There's no
Yeah.
non-African parents. If one parent in the whole world can understand it, or at least lean in, any other
Mhm.
parent can. So I'm not trying to say anything negative, but
No, no,
I
no, no,
want
no, no, no,
to say some things. Who am I to judge? Is what my beautiful sister Angel said. That right there is one of the things that people say. Who am I to judge? What are you judging anyway in the first place? Not her, please. This is not directed at her. These are the things that people
Mhm.
say. Okay, not
yeah.
for this woman, because I love that she's bringing it to the subject. This is what who am I to judge is a sentence that is so judgmental on its own. It's already
Mm,
it's something you're doing that's wrong, but I don't want to judge you because you're not doing anything wrong. Is what I want to say. So let's go
Yeah.
before. Okay, so
Mhm.
and I love
Yeah.
that she brought it up. Who you can be, whoever you want to be, is incorrect. Their child is not being who they want to be. See, words matter. I'm a wordsmith. I would tear the words apart. Whoever
Mhm.
you want to be, people say that. Thank you, sister. Because people say that you can be whoever you want to be. The child is not wanting to be somebody.
Who they are.
Thank you. And I'm just, that's why I was writing it afterwards because this is all
Mhm.
people say. The third
Oh
one is that,
yeah. That's,
and then
yeah.
I love that she said, who are your parents? That is so powerful because that's what I do, the work that I do. We have to go to the parents and not, honestly, not give the parents a break. Here's why.
Mhm.
Because this child has been living in that space for as long as they've known, but they've not had the words or even the quote unquote permission to do it. So the parent truly, the moment you find out, it's enough already because the child has been in that space for a longer time than they told you. And you know, that's why they don't tell, right, Sister Angel? I love
Mhm.
that she said, but if it's my child, come all parents need to be like that. And then here's the last one, and I'll shut up. It's not my business. That's what you said, brother. It
Mhm.
should
mm,
be your business. It should be. We should be about being each other's keepers. When they say the village it takes to save,
mm,
well, you cannot, at the suicide rate that you quoted for them,
Mhm.
that singular thing makes it our. Don't send me thoughts and prayers. That after I'm dead, that right now is when I want the flowers. Right now is when I want you to think about me. Right now, I want you to pray for me and about me because of what I'm going to face ahead of me, not after I'm gone. So it's not my business, is a big one. How old are you? Is the final stab. Here's why. The first thing that comes to people's minds when they hear LGBT is always sex. We
Mhm.
have
mm,
a 4-year old who is dealing with gender. That's not sexuality. We have a
Very
7-year old who is straight. Why is it okay for the woman who's playing at the park for a 7-year old boy to be checking out the 6-year old girl and it's okay? Oh, maybe that's going to be his boyfriend. Maybe that's going to, but if it's a boy and a boy, all of a sudden, I want you to see the hypocrisy in that. So I'm saying what's good for the geese is good for the gizzard. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? Let us not, I love, she said everything I wanted to say because she brought it to the surface. So let's talk about it.
Okay.
Not okay. So thank you so much. Anyway, thank you, Sister Angel, because that's exactly what I was looking for. So you put it, you nailed it for me because that's what people do. That's why I do the queer minute every single day. I talk about one myth or misconception that people are propagating out there. So since we're here in a safe space, let us bring it up and deal with them so that nobody will say, "Well, I heard her say it's not my business. I heard her say whatever you want to be." They don't wanna. Nobody wants to be gay today. Nobody. Because of obvious reasons.
And I like that you said that, and I think that's where we should go, because I think a lot of times when a person do come out and say who they are, the first thing is, well, why does this person want to be this? And it's like, for me, it's like you sit down, I'm like, okay, so there are people being killed, there are people being jumped. I mean, they might lose everything from their family, they might be ostracized, and you think this is what they want? Like, do you really believe that this person chose this life? And so that is something that I think we should ponder with, because I think a lot of people, like you said, words do matters. And so when you say to a person, and John, I will start with you, when people say to someone, oh, why you chose this life? And you're like, chose? Like, so John, like, how can we rephrase that?
Right. You know, honestly, there's been a good amount of conversation about switching our thought process away from acceptance and tolerance to celebration and acknowledgement. And I think that when you were talking, I was thinking about when I first started to make my way out of the closet. Like, I was that dude way in the back of the closet. I could have had you that pair of shoes you hadn't seen in years, all the way in the back of your closet, right? And I was still active duty in the military, and I was working in the U.S. Army chaplain's course. I was working in religion in the military, right? So within a community that hated me, within a community that hated me, right? And I had this existential crisis that pushed me into self-acceptance. It was like I almost died living a lie. It makes no sense. Who is this helping? And so I said, I have no idea what it means to come out, but I'm coming out, and we're gonna figure that part out later. And so I told one of my good friends, my brother of mine, that I'm gay. Once I got to the point where I could actually say the word gay, and he said exactly what you were talking about. He said, "What you want to do that for?" Like it's washing your clothes or ordering a pizza, like it's something you're doing. Like, I am not doing anything. And arms, and I happen.
Internet. We can hardly hear you, John. We can't hear you, but I'll just move to you, Angel. So we're having a conversation. We're talking you, and so when people do have these conversations, somebody come out and they say this, I don't know why. How can we address that of why you chose this life? Like, how can that? I don't know. How can that be addressed for that to be rephrased or not even said?
Personally, I don't feel like there'll ever not be that question. Why do you want to be this person? I feel like it's been there before we got on this earth, and it's going to be there after we leave this earth. Because most people who aren't allies or part of the community definitely feel like first of all, sometimes we think you're trying to be rebellious. So that's why you want to be that way. You want to be rebellious. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, for instance, in like instance, like for someone like me, is like you're PK, you know what I'm saying, a pastor's kid or whatever. It's like, oh, you want to rebel, and then you hear things like, oh, the devil is testing me. That's why my child is like this. So, I mean, so with those ideas and notions, why would that be? Why you chose it? Why you would be like this? You know, you're like brain setting. Or you know what I mean? You want like it's like
okay. Are you all speaking Basa up in here?
Basa woman, so she gets to the sun.
You speaking Basa up in here? At the baby.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean, look at it, fan girl at you or fan ball at you.
Exactly.
That you choose to be, and it's like, no, you think I wanna wake up in the morning and then or sit down at the dining room table with my family, and then everybody looks at me like I'm odd one out, or I can walk freely with my partner, whilst my cousins and my friends can walk in here with people who I know are abusing them, but you guys are accepting them because they're in heterosexual relationships. But for me, where I'm happy, but because it's not what you deem right or Christian-like or whatever it is, so I cannot freely come into a space. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I feel like that why you want to be that. That's why when I said earlier to Dr. Lulu, it's like, because for me, I feel like when I say you could be whatever you want to be, because sometimes it's like people already telling you why you want that.
Want to be.
So you know what? You could be whatever you want to be as long as you are a good person. And I know definition of good is relative, but when I think of in all human aspects, when we say good people, we know what that means.
Yes.
Your goodness does not rely on your sexuality or your gender identity. You know what I mean? Or on your religious beliefs or whatever. Because I know some atheists that are some amazing people. And I know some Christians, I'm like, they're hell, what are you telling me to? You're already leading the line.
You're already living it. But Dr. Lulu, somebody said Dr. Lulu made a good point about parents coming out themselves as having gay children. Do you know any existing resources that can help parents dealing with these issues?
My website.
Do you heard it, people? Dr. Lulu.
Exactly. Why not promote yourself, sister?
No, but Angel, though, on a monster, not Angel. I mean, well, Angel and Edwin. I'm not trying to be funny. I am literally one of one. When I was starting this business, working with parents specifically, I had my middle son scroll through the internet. When he got to page 23 of Google, he said, "Mom, I can't find anybody else. I can't find a Black doctor, African physician, pediatrician." He told me. So I'm not joking when I say representation matters. And if you can go to anybody, of course, but it helps to go to the person who has. If you want to fix your Mercedes tire, I mean, you can take it to the Fiat dealership, but it's kind of best to take it to the Mercedes dealership because they've been doing. I've been a pediatrician for 30 years, working with parents and their kids for 30 years. I don't care African or no African. That's why sometimes I love what you said about not African parents, because it's just parents in the end. It's just all whether they're African children. Angel's child wants Angel's love, not Black Angel's love or Black love. Angel's child just wants Angel's love. I love what we're saying, and you know what? This is why bisexuals, majority of them remain deep inside the closet, because for them it's a double coming out.
Hey.
So I actually had to, not to cut you off, I actually had to make a post about this the other day on IG. I don't know if you saw that, Edwin.
Yeah.
But there's an article on Forbes magazine that called it double coming out of the closet, and I love that.
It is.
Because believe it or not, people don't know this, but 55 to 77% of adult LGBT are bisexual. Like, I'm not even making up the numbers. So imagine how many people we're talking about here. So what do? They cling on to their opposite gender relationship, and they never have to deal with this. Most people call me lesbian. They want to call me lesbian all the time. Then I said, no, I'm actually not a lesbian. I'm very happily bisexual. Like, it's not, I wasn't being a phase when I married my ex-husband. I really, truly love my ex-husband as a human being, as a man. And I love to hell and back of my ex-wife. So I'm actually proudly bisexual. Then they really look at you like, okay, you're really promiscuous. But I'm the most monogamous person in the world. If I'm with you, I can't even see this toilet roll here. But they just assume that because you're bisexual means you're. Meanwhile, like my sister Angel said, the average, let me not call African man, because white people do it too. They'll come with 5 girlfriends. Hey!
We love good. The ball. The ball. That's small ball.
The ball. Super.
Big dick energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, honest, but seriously, I think that is for me. It's always been the double standard when it comes to these things because what people don't understand. So someone told me this story where they were part of this wedding train. They were in this person's wedding, and everybody in the bridal party had to bring somebody. And so they get, and episode they were fine. They had he has his partner, and they're planning to go to the wedding. Everything's fine. A couple of days before the wedding, the person get a text message saying, "Oh, unfortunately, everybody else can bring somebody, but you can't bring nobody because he said, you better send me all my money. This is
every penny and cent of it.
Like every cent of it." And my thing is that, but it's okay if Johnny over there got his wife and his girlfriend, and he said, "You know what? My wife will come with me, but I need my girl to come too." And everybody like, "Yeah, my man." Everybody's like routing you up. But then we come to this part, and this pisses me off. But I want us to move into this section. I got a text message while the show was going on. And somebody said, how can we have a conversation with this? Can we also talk about people who are allies of the LGBTQI, but they don't like the lifestyle? And I hear this all the time, and I'm like, okay, so what lifestyle are we talking about? And I'm not saying
ally though.
Thank you, sister.
I want to have a conversation. Like, I think I want to understand what is the lifestyle?
It's not a haircut. It's not a perfume. It's not a lifestyle. But you know what? We need to. And I love what Sister Angel mentioned the last time. I am Nigerian, so of course I come out swinging. I mean, that's just my nature. Hey, and I have no apologies. I'm a true Pisces. There are two kinds of Pisces. There's the fish is going both opposite directions. There are the introverts, and then I am the extrovert. My job is not honestly to convert everybody. There'll be some people for Sister Angel to work with. And so not everybody for me. The people that are saying that are for Sister Angel, she has the patience and the bandwidth. I don't.
I've learned this apparently.
It's not a lifestyle. But you know what they're saying? Do you know that if you look at the research, 80% of intense homophobes are closeted gays. So they're actually, in their mind, how dare you live your life out loud? When I can't live my life out loud, you don't get to live your life out loud. And brother John just sent me a text. He said he's trying to get in.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I just texted him too. Okay,
thank you.
Yeah, and so
it's not a lifestyle. No, I'm saying it's not a lifestyle. And an ally. The definition of an ally is not a spectator sport. In other words, you're not going to stand on the sidelines. If you're going to be an ally, it's a verb. You have to be actively roll up your sleeves. When you look at racism, that's the easiest way to explain it. We have gay people or queer people who are racist.
Yeah.
It blows my mind because you already know what it's like to be the underdog. Like the governor of Texas is on a freaking wheelchair. You already know what it's like to be the underdog, and yet you have the mindset to be mean to somebody else to the point of wanting to kill them. So gay people who are racist, this is the epitome of the people that I know are in hell. Because you already know what it's like to be ostracized, to be bullied to the point of death, and then you can still muster enough hatred. So people who are allies for racism, that's the example. You cannot be anti-racist and be quiet in your bedroom. Oh, I'm anti-racist, but I don't really want to say
the lifestyle.
I don't really I don't like, I like black people, but I don't really like the lifestyle. You think I want to be black? You think really, truly, I mean, I'm saying as an example, of course, I love
right.
But based on racism in America, shooting me in my backyard, in my bedroom, you think I want to choose to be black? So if you're going to be my ally, I need to see you. You need to come out and declare yourself. So people that say, oh, I want to be an ally, but I don't like lifestyle, you are as homophobic as the person who doesn't want to be an ally. There's no difference.
And you know what, though?
Because Martin Luther King said, In the end, it is not the whatever words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. That's the worst hurts. I don't know. Go ahead, my sister. I beg.
Honestly, to be honest, if you're an ally and you're talking about you don't like the lifestyle, to me, you're worse than somebody who is letting me know. Because you know what? At least I know you don't like me. I'm going to stay away
You don't
from
like
you.
me, agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and so it comes to a play where I just want to move to this, where it's like, so I think that you were talking about bisexuals, and I think a lot of bisexual men, I think men do have this issue where they are married, they have a wife, they're married, and then they finally, they come out and say, you know what, this is not working for us, it's not what it is, the relationship is broken, and then they start dating a guy. Oh, Jehovah Jireh. It turns into an entire spectacle. And I'm just like, what's going on? Why can this person love who they love and be with who they want to be with? And so I don't know why I want to say that, and why I don't know if it's a why, but why is it that there are some women who think it's okay to gender shame their partner when that person comes out?
Okay, that one, that's it. Because, and I've heard, let me tell you something. I've heard lesbians say, first of all, when they say, oh, you with another girl, that's gay. And I'm like, but aren't you a lesbian? What does that even mean? Listen, those terms and terminologies and saying, I don't get it. You know what I mean? But I've also heard gay women also say, I'd rather be a lesbian than be a gay guy. So I'm like, so what's the difference? Isn't it the same sex? I don't understand that either. You know what I'm saying? But then if you're looking at it, like, for me, I always like to speak on like culture and society, because it always, where you're from, that's what you know, right? Yeah. So when I hear things from in ours or within our society, it's like, I'd rather her be with a woman because she can always come back. But once they excuse the expression, they bust your butt, you can't go back. Mm-hmm. Because when people think of, and I've heard it even within the African American community, where it's like, there's no such thing as a bisexual man.
Yeah.
I don't know why people feel that. I don't understand it. If there can be bisexual women, why can there not be bisexual men? Like, why cannot? Why?
I think the bottom line is what this beautiful conversation is bringing to the surface is all the work that we need the work that still needs to be done. Mm-hmm. The only way you can burst any of those isms, whether it's hateism, which I made up that word, or racism, or sexism, or gender binarism, or heterosexism, the only way is edumacation. Which, by the way, Edwin, your niece, your auntie Linda, she taught me that word, and I love it. That's the only way to burst, because this is pure ignorance. You and I know that. It's just to educate. That's why we cannot stop the work that we're doing. Even though I get frustrated sometimes, I want to break my head, but I was like, look, if I do that, then who will save the children? Because what we're doing right now, we hope that just one person watching it today.
Yes.
And if that one person gets it, then our work is done. Because from one person, you can get 3 people, then 13, then 50, then, because Edwin, you're here, you're one person, you're making a difference. You're having a conversation with 5 other people, 4 other people talking about this. And I love that John was here because he has lived experience as a Black man. The other John, I don't know what happened to him, but he also has a lived experience as a Black man. It's important to have representation. If only they could get back on the show, because people need to hear from Black men. And John, I know both of them, but the one that was in here, if he had a chance to tell you, he would tell you that in his family, the person that quote unquote persecuted him the most, the worst, came out later on as lesbian.
Mm-hmm. It's because that person was not able to live the true life, and they saw somebody else living their life and they were intimidated. And so I would need to put you down for me to feel good about myself. And someone said, because people are refusing to live their truth. Can you expand on that? We don't, but I think the whole living their truth, and I think
What does it mean by people refusing to live their truth?
Yeah, and so that's why I think a lot of times people say this and they take it out. I don't think they real. It's like when you say someone is living their truth, what is their truth? Because that person might have their truth and you have an interpretation of their truth. And so because you just have an interpretation, you have this whole thing about who they are, what they did, and all that kind of stuff. And so now it makes it harder for this person to even come and be honest with you and say, you know what, this is my situation. This is how things going on. And so I want us to just reel back to parents. Dr. Lulu, you talked about it earlier, and I think one of the issues that some parents do have, or maybe all the parents who have to do with this, is they think it's their fault. They think it's their fault. Like, my son or my daughter is is choosing this lifestyle. Let me give the exact sentence what they normally give. My son or my daughter is choosing this lifestyle. It's my fault. I did it. I should have known. And so
we're not coming bring it to America.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If I come to bring America, I want to see that kind of thing.
As if we don't have gay people in Nigeria. You know,
they're like, I'm just like, no, trust me. And that's when you be like, no, trust me, they're everywhere. You just didn't know. We
even when you know, you look the other way. And I say this with all fairness. And you know, I want Sister Angel to talk. I want to show you all something. Just keep talking, Sister Angel. I'll be right back. I want to show you all something, please.
Okay.
So go ahead, Angel. So
I think we'll be in the. Go ahead. For me, right? When they come, let's even before she would talk about the parent thing, but the bisexuality thing, I feel like people don't understand that, because you know sometimes for your whole life I can speak for myself, like openly with guys, blah blah blah, and then you come back and you're like, you know, I'm gonna be with this person now, but you don't know what I've been doing in my private life. I've been with girls privately. It's just that what I was publicizing was what you thought was the norm. So now I'm like, okay, well, I'm living my full self now. I'm like, you know, opening my full self to the world. And then it's like, oh, so you not change? When you will come back? Somebody literally asked me the other day, so when you will come back on this side?
I love to listen to the Liberian accent, so you don't change.
No, the thing is, I would take that. The thing about Liberian people is the way they say certain things. You just like, oh, okay. It's like I can't even respond to you, because if I respond to you, I might say something I'm going to be extremely disrespectful, and I don't want to do that. Or I'm just going to be like, whatever, and just walk away. Because it's like these conversations where someone says, oh, but you have a son. But you have this, like, okay. And
somebody said to me the other day, so you want more cheering? I say, if I wanted more, I could have more with my partner. What's the issue? Hi,
like,
Thank you. That's one of the
you guys, like, you're trying to understand. And so the Pauline expanded, she said, I meant people are projecting their own insecurities and issues on others that are open about their lives and what makes them happy. Like you said, Edwin, instead of supporting or encouraging others, they become judgmental for absolutely no reason. And it's absolutely no reason, because that person is dealing with their issue.
Mm-hmm. Edwin, I love, there's a word you said, encouraging.
Yeah.
A lot of Africans will tell why are you encouraging your child to be like that? Wait. What
am I supposed to do?
I had a guy that I dated. Let me tell you, true moment of vulnerability here, because you see, that's why I love the word vulnerability. Once you've already learned something, you can talk about it, and that somebody will hear that, and maybe they will learn. Let me show you something. And then I'll come back and say that. When my kids were 4 and 2, I only had 2 children at that time. We were playing house. So I said, okay, kids, go into the closet and get any of the shoes, any of the grown-up shoes you can find. This is what happened. So tell me, this kid was 4 years old. This one was 4 years old. This one. Mm-hmm. My eldest. This one was 2 years old. Look at the shoes that they picked. Mm-hmm. I want you to see, when people say, oh, is the child too young to know? My eldest picked my skulls. This one. Picked my skulls. You see the high heel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was 4 years old. When people say that, oh, did they know? And they start thinking about sex. That's what breaks my head. Then this one is the middle boy. He picked the most masculine looking shoes that I have. You see the shoes?
Yeah.
You see that? Even though they're high heels, but the front of it is square. So that's to tell you, and I never thought about it when I blew up the picture, was just because I went to the CVS and they had blown it up. I was like, oh, thank you. So I took it. I never thought about it, but now I'm able to use this to teach people how young a child knows. This particular child, when she was younger, look at the body, look at the hands. Look at the hands. This is a 4-year-old, innocent 4-year-old who had both parents. Because people say, oh, maybe because you're a single mom, maybe both of us parents were in the house. Your child is gay because your child is gay. I want to show you an example of a child. And the one thing I said, look at the brother. Look at the brother's body language. I don't know what I'm doing. Brother body language. Look at the other one's body language. You see that? It's the child knows. They might not say it. And here's why I talk about that. Because growing up, the one word I said to her every single time was, stop acting like a girl. Stop acting like a girl. Why are you acting like a girl? Throughout childhood. Why do you think I was saying that?
Why do you think I was? You had an inclination or something?
Yes, because parents know. So when parents say that they don't know, that's a lie. Because what we do is we are denying it. And Mom, you need to do your hair like a girl. You know what she do? She would tie a sweater on her hair and say, "Oh, that's my hair." Why are you doing that? Why are you acting? I was asking her not to be who she is. Today she's transgender, and I wrote her a text message when I said, "You know what? I'm so happy that you're bold enough to live in your authenticity because I want you to know that I've always wanted a daughter." You know what I got? A response. She said, "Mom, you've always had a daughter."
That's amazing.
That's powerful. So parents, please, I'm begging you. This is not Dr. Lulu talk. I'm begging you. You need to ask yourself a very important question. What are you making your child's gayness mean? What are you making it mean about who you are? Are you making it mean that there's something wrong with you? Because that's where the coaching comes. My book is finally ready.
Okay. Hey. But yes. And then Johnny is here, guys. Johnny is here.
Hey, Johnny!
It took you long enough.
He came in last film. We're just gonna turn the whole podcast to you. You're gonna talk about
fashionably late.
Oh my God, Lord have mercy. So apologies, can't even words fail. Okay. Words fail. But hello.
Well, you're here. We say thank you for joining us. Conversation is going. We're literally talking about parents. How can we educate parents? We have Dr. Lulu, that's Angel, about dealing with the fact that the child is coming out. And if you have any personal story, anything you would like to add to the table and share with us, we are ready.
I definitely think that. Well, first, thank you for holding the space. Like, can't even talk about how transformative that is in general. The mere existence is an act of rebellion. And I received that. It's interesting, this topic, because being kind of a queer child and that being, I came out, not recently, probably about like maybe 7 years ago. And a lot of my experience thus far has been rooted in recovering pieces of myself that were lost as a child, pieces of myself that I wasn't allowed to have access to. And I was just thinking today about how my parents did a great job at really building up certain parts of me, really building up my imagination, my sense of creativity, my sense of exploration and my adventurous nature. And there was always this part of me that was matters of the heart, right? Matters of identity. But specifically, because I am a cisgender male who is gender nonconforming, my specific experience was with matters of the heart and not really ever feeling connected to romance. And the way that is manifested in my adulthood has been sort of this disassociation from allowing myself to feel intimate with someone. But I think growing up, my mother, it's funny because there was a point where she asked me, when I think I was like 19, she was like, Trey, are you gay? And at the time I was like, no, what you mean? What you mean? What you mean gay? No, never. So in that way, she was open at a certain point. But I think oftentimes queer children have to grow with their parents. We're limited to the growth of our parents, and sometimes it feels like if we can't grow with our parents, then we can't grow with we have to separate ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. And so with me, the option to be connected to my mom, there was no other option. So a lot of my queer identity was limited to my connection to her. And so as she opened up to the idea, I opened up to it. And that's a very specific experience too, because I have a lot of siblings in this community that have to do the ostracized route and have to do the alienation and the isolation. And it is not easy. And it is far too common with our community. And with my mother, she granted me growth. Now, she could have helped me a lot more. And she's still because I feel like, and this is maybe a generational thing, even beyond the scope of sexuality, orientation, identity, but just in terms of just like generational trauma, I feel like there was so much that she had to admit to herself in order to accept me. Like there's so much of a parent needing to accept parts of themselves, whether that is the internalized misogyny, the internalized homophobia, the internalized transphobia, whatever that looks like, it in that way, she was limiting my growth as a queer individual, because tolerance is different than acceptance.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot. So a lot of our journey has been her accepting me and not just tolerating.
But you know what, Johnny? The beauty of what you said is tolerance is different from acceptance. Both of them are different from affirmation.
Yep.
Oh, hello.
Affirmation is where the destination is. But I love that. I love it.
And when you say that, I think it brings a lot of things. That's where when we talk about the other thing, when someone said, I am an ally, but I don't like the lifestyle. That's where you're like, okay, so we need to talk about this, because you can, but then it's like you're tolerating me. It's like, oh, this person is here. Okay, yeah, they're here. But you show no affection. There is no acknowledgement. There is nothing. You're just like, oh, this person's in the space and I got to deal with this person, and now they're gone. And so I like when you said that.
And then when you see them comment on social media, it's like, I'm your friend. And then sometimes when there's a homophobic post, and then you see that comment and you're like, I had to unfriend somebody the other day, child. I couldn't do it. I was like, oh, this is how you truly feel? Say less.
So I said this to my group of friends. I am the person where I look at posts and I look who like and who comment. They're like, you're so weird. No, I'm not. I said, because this is what happens. I am not going to be laughing kiki with you, and then you liking and posting a post, or you sharing a post where a guy is jumping a female, dragging a female, and then a guy is cursing at a female, or they're cursing at an LGBTQI person, or they're dragging them, and then you're like, oh, I'm like, oh, no, we're not going to do that. That's not what we're not going to do. And so my friends were like, you ready to do that? Yes, I do. And I will block them. Like, literally. Like, it's easy. Bam, bam. This is my phone.
Block is a verb.
No, because that's what the person truly feels. I mean, sometimes you have to like accept people for who they are. And and one thing I've learned, you don't have to like me. You don't even have to tolerate me. Okay. Just let me be, like, you know what I'm saying? But don't pretend, because that's dangerous, because that tells me tomorrow if she was to pop off and you were there. Now I know, listen, if I know you don't like me, if something was to happen, I'm not depending on you. But imagine I'm thinking that, okay, you are my safe space. And then something happens and I'm looking at you as an ally and you're like, no, ma'am. So that's more dangerous. So no. And I know not to go with you in certain spaces. So I don't understand the whole thing of, oh, I'm an ally, but I don't like the lifestyle. That's like in life, bro. We can say you can let a monkey, you can let it see. When you want to eat a dog, don't look in the air.
And you
Okay,
can't tell the baby outside that water.
Basta. Mosiki basta. What
You
is
can't
that?
throw that baby outside with the bath with the baby water. You
The baby?
Exactly.
like no, but it's the thing that we do, and Johnny, and so there's been like the conversation has been going. We talked about, Dr. Lulu, of course, she's educating us for us who are parents or who are people, who have friends who have kids or know other people. And I think that's the conversation. And I want to, we've seen there are people in the community where you do see, and there is this thing, and we said it earlier, and I said it earlier, where it's like, it's not my business. So I'm just gonna mind my business, and I'm just gonna move on to the other side. And so I bring it with you because everybody is an live, it's Pride Month, everybody posting. I mean, they got these new. I'm like, when these men start wearing these shorts?
The hoochie daddies.
The hoochie daddy shorts. I was like, sir, if you don't put those big thighs in flowy pants, we'll have a whole different problem here today.
Not the big ties. Oh gosh. People gonna say you're doing fast streaming, yo.
But they'll be fine. But that's what I'm saying. And I just want, people, we have these people who say, it's not my business. And how do you handle that? What is your, and when someone say, oh, it's not my business. I'm an ally, but it's not my business. I'm just going.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with everything that everyone has said so far, and I think that it's a form of erasure, right? It's an excuse to not look it in the eye, right? It's not my business, because the reality is it is. It's an act of denial, right? Of I will not take accountability for looking at what I'm looking at. So I'm just going to say that what I'm looking at, I have no ownership over. Yeah. And yeah, so that act of, for me, it's an act of denial. And to be honest, an act of violence. I do think that we have normalized all the ways in which, as queer and or trans individuals, violence is enacted upon us. We are a very strong people. We have to be. I was having a conversation with someone today, and she was just saying that it's crazy to me that there are people out there who don't think about race, when race is intertwined with everything that I do and everywhere that I go. And with people that hold a wealth of intersectionality like us, our sexuality, our identification is a part of that journey too. And so we are often erased in culture. We are often looked over, and I think that has been the pattern. And it hasn't been until the last 30 years that the trans and queer movement has really gotten momentum, and then specifically the Black trans and or queer movement. And so I think with that's why I say it's not my business is a form of erasure. Is an act of violence, whether intended or not. It is a way to say because it isn't you can exist, it's not my business. It is also you can get hurt, it's not my business.
Thank you.
Like it is not just the you love who you love. It is you kill who you kill. You're injured how you're injured. Whatever it is, it's not my business. You can't have one without the other. If you're saying that someone's existence isn't a part of your reality, because that's what they're saying. Your existence is not a part of what matters to me.
And that's why when white people say, "Oh, I don't see color," yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that is.
Same thing. I love of violence. Like, I'm glad John came, because we already kind of mentioned at the beginning that it has to be your business. You must make it your business. How is it not your business? I love that you said, because that means if you get hurt, that's why Black people that's why George Floyd happened.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why Karen calls the police on a child selling water in her neighborhood, because the other neighbors say it's not their business.
It's not their business.
That's why the popo called on my children as they were exercising in our neighborhood. because everybody else saying it's not their business. These kids went to school in this neighborhood. They stood on the school bus in this neighborhood for 15 years. Yet somebody called the police on them, and the police came. It's not because they say it's not my business. It's terrible. Thank you so much for that. That's a great question.
It's yeah, that's whole not your business thing, and I think it's at another level, especially when you like Dr. Lulu, you said that when someone say, I don't see color, and it's like, okay, you don't see color, you don't see me, because
you
hey,
don't see me.
I'm the blackest thing you probably have ever seen. So if you don't see that color, sorry, I can't help you. And for me, and that's why a lot of people, I'm very dismissive. Like it's a big, I just shut it down, just leave you alone. Like I'm not here to educate you or anything else. And so, but while we're still in that, we are way over time and we got so much to talk about, but I don't know what we're gonna do. But this is it.
Well, there's always part 3.
Part 3, right? But we're here.
This about to be like
it's gonna be like an every month thing. But anyway, somebody, I got this text from somebody who said, parents need to understand the difference between being a warrior and being a champion. Of course, when your child come up to you, your child tell you, they're gay, you want to protect them, you want to fight for them, you want to break skull if anybody say anything to them. But what your child wants you to do is to be in their corner.
Right.
Support them. Just cheer them on and let them feel loved. They don't need you to fight for them. They don't need you to
fight for them. Yeah, we see that at the beginning. They don't need you to fight for them, because that is the way of overreacting, painting everything rainbow. No, that's not.
Yeah, and so I don't know. That's thing to talk about that when it comes to parents. That one of the things that parents need to do and need to understand when their child comes to them, like what stance should they take, and anybody can start.
Yeah, I'll let Angel start.
Well, it depends on the parents.
I know.
I feel like it always depends on who the parents are. If you're a religious parent, please don't say I'm going to pray the gay away. If you are a cool parent, do not start calling all your friends that, oh, finally, they told me. So you've been talking about me behind my back? You know what I'm saying? It's like, we need to be cool, calm, and composed. Like if your daughter came to you and told you she was having sex at 15 or 16, what are your reactions going to be? Or your son, what are your actions going to be? You know what I'm saying? I feel like we need to take it from that angle. Like it really depends on who the parents are all the time, though. So personally, I can only speak from me. I feel like if my child was to come to me, I would really want to explore more and then show, because obviously I don't care how you think you're queer, you can never be fully versed on the topic. So now we have to do our research and see, okay, this is what we need to do. This is what this is. I feel like I want to have a regular conversation with my child, like a regular kid. If they're telling me like, oh, mommy, I have a boyfriend or whatever, or a girlfriend, I want to be able to have a conversation as a parent, not glorify them because, you know what I'm saying? Because, oh, now you're gay. So everything in my house is about to be rainbow, or everything in my house has to be roses and rose petals, or everything now has to be, if you're a girl, now you have to have what kind of stud are you? Or what kind of lesbian are you? Are you a stud? You know what I'm saying? Like, no. I just want you to know that this is a safe space. If ever you need to talk, I'm here for you. You are loved, you're seen, you're accepted. And I'm your ally, I'm your confidant, I'm your parent, but you know what I'm saying? I'm your friend. So let's have conversations around those things. Let home be your safe space. Know that when you go out into the world and everything else fails, this is where you need to come and cry and let your hair down. So, that's what I think.
Affirming words. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything Angel said. Thank you for saying that, Angel. I think it's a topic that's been glazed over since forever. And I think a parent realizing that they are also affected by that change. Like, I think, because it's hard to kind of have sort of a manual of what, because like Angel said, every parent is different. And every child is different. And I think, obviously, to add to what Angel said, asking questions, trying to let them know that they are supported, that they are there. But for the parents that have resistance, and for the parents that do have all of these, intersections that I feel like are, hello, bye bye, all of these intersections that are problematic and that make it hard to accept Black, trans, and or queer, or trans and or queer individuals, children. I think that the parent asking themselves, how does this affect me? How do I feel about this? And asking themselves, like, really going down and being aware of how the change makes them feel, and understanding that it is their business. It's their business, and not gaslighting themselves, say I don't care what they do, and saying, okay, I am affected by this. What change needs to happen? Because I think there's a lot of incomplete parents who therefore raise incomplete children, right?
Mm.
Like, they don't understand themselves well enough. And how can you raise someone and love someone when you don't love and understand yourself? And so I think, like, that is essential for the parents of queer individuals, because our existence creates, like, inner conflict within parents often. So we have to, we have to be acknowledged in that way. It's like, we automatically shake up the house as soon as we walk in. And so to deny that, it's like the parents have to ask themselves these questions, so that they can be complete and know how to be there, yeah.
Dr. Lulu, you're going to just take it home.
I can take it home, honey. I can take it home. Obviously, I'm a writer, so I write. I love the phrase "incomplete parents raise incomplete children." That sums it up. That sums it up, and that's where my vulnerability in parenting comes. You have to admit that you don't know everything. You have to admit that you don't get everything. You also have to accept that if trauma can be handed down through generations, you can start the healing that will be handed down through generations. So the first thing that I tell my parents to do is to say thank you. Thank you for finding me a safe person to share this magnanimous information with. Because a lot of times, as you know, the children have been carrying it. Most of my parents in my support group will say, oh, I can just tell, like, she just looks, her spring in her foot is different. She's walking, she looks happier. She's just happier. They say that. So it's been weighing on them. You can give all the antidepressants you want. If you don't accept and affirm your child, in 30 years, we're going to still be on antidepressants. So the first thing, I don't want a parent to say, oh, I've always known. It is too important to your gay child. You do not dismiss it. Oh, yeah, what's for dinner? No. It is too important to them because they get bullied for this thing at school. They get beaten up at school. They get beaten up at home for this. So when your child tells you, Mom, Dad, I'm gay, it takes a lot. If you look it up, 60 to 80% of children who come out tell that it is one of the most stressful events in their life. So you don't get to minimize it. You do not get to say, oh, I've always known what's for dinner. No. You acknowledge, thank you so much. And then ask them open-ended questions like, how can I help? What can I do to make it easier? What would you like me to do? You don't get to say, oh, grandma, guess what? No, like we've already said. Ask the child, because the child may choose one parent to tell and not the other parent, because the child doesn't find the other parent a safe place. So you don't get, I don't care if it's your husband you love so much, you don't get to tell them. It's not your story to tell. It's your place to support. So TAD, thank them, accept, ask open-ended questions, and then D, decide right there and then to support. So those are TAD.
And I think it's some of that, but I think also we need to understand not only parents but siblings. And I think that's what I've seen. People come out mostly to their siblings before they even come out to parents. And siblings need to understand it's not your place to go and tell your parents, because when your sibling come and tell you, they're telling you. Now let them go
or be mad on behalf of your parents.
Yeah, exactly. Or now you want to take this mantle because your mom or your dad is upset, and so you want to. It's not your place, let that person deal with that situation with their parents and with their cousins and with their aunties and uncles. That is their story to tell. And I think, but this has been an amazing conversation. I want to say thank you to Dr. Lulu, Angel, Johnny, and of course John Ebron, who was on. I said thank you guys for being here. I really, really, really enjoy it. It's always great. Dr. Lulu has her book Invited In. It is out. I believe you can go in every place to go and buy it. Of course, you can go to Dr. Lulu's website and purchase the book. But you can go. Can we get it on Amazon? Can we get it on books.com?
So actually, the truth is, it drops on the 30th of July. But you can pre-order.
That's what I'm about to say. Can we pre-order?
You can pre-order it on my website, drlulu.com/pre-order book or something. I don't know. /invited in. Yeah, so you can pre-order it. Please pre-order it so that once it comes out, you'll be the first to know. But yeah, thank you so much. You need to come on my podcast. Johnny, you need to come on my podcast. Y'all need to come on my podcast.
We're ready. Like I'm ready anytime. Like we can just do this.
Ready.
This conversation.
You're the ultimate ally, Edwin. You're the ultimate ally. I need you on my show to talk about allyship, African allyship. It's amazing.
But it's important that we do continue this conversation. I think these conversations are extremely important, especially in our Black and Brown communities. That's why I have this platform, because conversations like these aren't talked about. People don't talk about it. I have friends now who would text me or who would send me messages on Facebook and Instagram and be like, "Oh my God, I send your video to my aunt, and I send it to my mom, and I send it to my uncle because I wanted them to watch it, because this is how they respond to me and stuff like that." And so I think this is important. And I said, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. And there will be a part 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6 and a 7 and 8 and 9, 10. Until we're tired talking, we'll continue to be talking.
We'll keep this horse dead.
But you guys all have an amazing Thursday, and thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. Really nice, really nice, really nice. Nice meeting you, Johnny.
Of it, please. Can we get a copy of it so we can? I want to share with my parents and my support group. Yes.
Sure. Yeah. So I will send once I get it, I'll send it over to you.
Okay. And parents, please, if you need support, holla at your girl. If you need support, holla at your girl. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That was nice meeting you, Dr. Lulu.
Yes, Dr. Lulu, love you. Love
bye. Happy Pride.
I love you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys. So, of course, this is the conversation Outspoken Opinionated. I am your host, Edwin Maya. It's been a great Thursday. If you aren't following us, we ask you to go to Spotify, The Conversation, OutspokenOpinionated.com, on YouTube, The Conversation, OutspokenOpinionated.com. We are also on Apple Podcasts, The Conversation, OutspokenOpinionated.com. Outspoken Opinionated, The Conversation, Outspoken Opinionated. We're also on Instagram, of course, the Outspoken Opinionated podcast, and asking you to follow us, like us, subscribe to us. And we're going to be back next week, Thursday, with an amazing conversation. I hope you all have a great time, and I'll see you next